Hello, thank you for subscribing or trying out the automated web scraping service. So to get started, you'll need to connect to our server, and you'll do that through remote desktop. So if you're on a Windows system, simply click Start and type in the word remote, and you'll see that remote desktop connection. Once you click that, it will open a remote desktop connection. So here is your remote desktop connection window. To get to the server, you would type in rdp.sdcdeals.com, and then you would do connect, and it'll ask you for the username and password. So using as an example, I'll do demo user 15 and the password, but you're emailed your own username and password. And once you do that, it then opens up the window and you're logged into the server. So that is one way to connect to the server. The other way is if you are running on a Mac, you'll first need to download the download the remote desktop client for your Mac, and then the process will be the same. So briefly, we do have a video that shows you how to download the Microsoft Remote Desktop Client for Mac. And when you play the video, it'll show you that once you've downloaded it, you can go through and install. The PC name is, that's where you would put rdp.sdcdeals.com, and user account prompt when required, that's fine. So when you hit connect, it'll ask you for the username and password that you can type in, and then you have some different display options. So there's a link to that video in the email that you originally received. At that point, though, you should be on the server. So this is a remote desktop server. It's running on an Amazon server on the back end with all of the web scraping automation pre-installed. So everything is already installed and ready to go. So a couple things that I will show you on the server so you can get started. First, if you click the folder here, you'll notice that there are some folders on the server. So first there's their desktop, but if you look in your desktop, you'll see a folder called scrapes. This is where the scrapes will go once they're automatically completed. So you'll want to look for that. There is a folder, you'll see it here, scrapes. There's also a folder called output. So output is where the raw data comes in. Like you'll see the different links, you'll see data. There's not a lot that you'll need to do here, most of the cases, since it's automated, but it's still good to know this folder exists, and that's where the information is. There's also a batch folder where there's some different scrapes and things depending on which retail stores you're scraping, but you'll see the different batch files that can kick off different parts of the scrape, which I'll go into in a moment. Once you are on the server, this is a Windows Remote Desktop server connecting to an Amazon server that has in the cloud that has all of the scraping installed, and it's fully automated. So there's a few things that you'll want to know once you're on the server. The first you can start with is this folder icon. That'll take you to the folder structure. You can see some folders here on the desktop as well, but some of the ones that you'll want to pay attention to on the desktop is the scrapes folder. So this folder is where all of the scrapes will go once you've run a scrape, which I'll go through. This is where you would look. There's also a folder called daily scrapes, which is where all of the daily scrapes, if you're subscribed to that, that's where those are copied to. And the daily scrapes is basically 2 or 3 large scrapes run every single day on different retailers and copied to that folder for you to use in case you don't want to scrape, these stores on your own. So just understand that this is where the files get placed in this scrapes folder so that you know how to open them. You can either open a scrape directly on the server by double clicking it, and it'll open in a program, LibreOffice, which is very similar to Microsoft Excel. So that you see all the information here. The other thing that you can do is if you want to, you can right click a file, select copy, go up to the top and kind of drag so it's minimized, or just minimize it, and then right click on your local environment and select paste. And now it's going to copy that file from the remote desktop server down to your local machine. And now you can open that file directly. You can see on here, I have it open on my other screen. So then it's in Excel and it's a little bit easier to navigate. So there's different options. You can also update this and upload it to Google and use Google Sheets. So there's a number of ways to actually use the files. So now that you want to actually start scraping, here's what I would suggest. I would open up Microsoft Edge to use as the browser that you're browsing with. Chrome has already been pre-configured to use scraping, it's blocking images and cookies and things like that. So I would use Edge and I would go to a retail store that you're interested. Let's do Kohls.com. So there'll be some more videos in the future on scraping strategy. I already have some recorded, but the idea is you're looking for things that are on sale. There's your coupon, any way that you can manufacture your margin. So sometimes if you click on different aspects here, such as coupons or things like that, it'll tell you the different offers that they have. But in generally, like it says here, you can click the Kohls Cash. And if you click that, it brings up a search result. So search results are what we're looking for when you're going to scrape. You want to actually see products listed on a page. You want to see how many products there are. You want to be able to scroll to the bottom and see how many pages there are in this particular search. Obviously, this is a large, broad search with 3,700 pages and 178,000 products, but you can very easily filter that on this. So say you're only wanting to look at shoes. Now you've pared it down to 9,000 products, and say you want to do certain size, you want to do a certain brand, a gender, maybe the price. You don't want to see shoes that are over $100, or maybe you want to see this sweet spot of 50 to 100. So the goal is to filter the search so that you're happy, so that you get the results that you want. And once you have that, you're going to grab the entire URL up here by clicking in there, right click and do copy to copy this entire URL. And that's what we're going to use when we're starting our scrape to tell it, okay, this is what I want to scrape. So you can minimize this window, go back to your desktop, make sure Chrome is completely closed out, since that will cause the scrape to fail when you start it. You click on Start Scrape. So Start Scrape brings up this window and a drop down, and you can see all the different stores that we currently have. There will be more added. You should see the ones that you were either interested in trying out with your free account or all the ones that you've subscribed to. But I'm going to select Kohls, which is our example. I'm going to click Start. So what this does, this automation, first is going to ask, do you want to do a generic search or do you want to paste a URL? In general, when you're first starting out, I'd recommend pasting the URL. So in this case, I will enter 2 to paste the URL. I'll hit enter. Now it says enter the URL. So I'm going to paste the one that I had. It'll ask me, what are the total number of pages? So in this one, let's do 10 pages as an example. And then it's going to ask me for the discount. So I know when Kohls has Kohls Cash, that's a built-in 20% discount. You don't have to use a discount. You can put 0, but again, if you're going to be successfully sourcing products, you should have some sort of coupon or some sort of discount rather than just scraping everything at full price. So in this case, I'll put 20%. You don't have to put the percent sign. I'll hit enter, and this is going to start the automation process. So you can see it's already opened Chrome. The first thing that this will do is bring up that search that I pasted in, and now it's going to go through and get all of those products. So it'll load up the page, and it'll go through, and you'll see it saying processing page 1 of 10. And as each one goes, it's bringing up that exact same search that I had for shoes, for that price point, for everything that I had, sorted by best selling. And now it's going through each one of these pages. And again, on here in the black box, you can see that progress indicator. It gives you a kind of a heads up. So there are times where you may see access denied or page cannot be displayed. The scraping, the automation is built to automatically recover from that. So don't worry about that if you're seeing a page and it's stopping and closing and opening the browser. There's built-in error tolerance and recovering and things like that. But basically what this has done now is it's gotten through those 10 pages that I told it to scrape. It's got all of the links to those products, which is the first part of the automation process. Closes Chrome and then reopens. You'll see a message here starting the data scrape, and then it's going to reopen Chrome. And now the pages will be different because they're going to be loading in each individual product. that we have on our list. So with 48 products per page, there's 10 pages. It should be somewhere in the 480 products range that I did for this sample scrape. So right now it's going to attempt to load that first page. The first page sometimes where it says about blank, sometimes it'll come up and say can't reach. Again, you don't have to do anything, just wait. After 10 seconds, it'll detect it, close it out and retry. And it'll keep redoing this throughout the process. There's really nothing that you need to do other than keep this window open. You don't want to close out of the server during the scraping process. You don't want to minimize the window. Right now, it's going through this, the process. You can see it's bringing up each individual product and scraping all of the information. So not only is it scraping that product, but it's getting all colors, all sizes for this particular, which is really why I like clothing. So this one product may have 100 different lines in our spreadsheet of 100 different ASINs, and it's done doing that all automatically, which is nice. So again, you can see it going through here. Sometimes Kohls has these offers where it says for price, add to bag. The scraping will skip those usually and just keep moving so that you'll see it say messages about having different array lengths because there was no price displayed. But you can see there was 480 products, and now it's going to be going through each of those products. And once it gets towards the end, I'll show you what it looks like once you run Keepa, which is the third part where it's got all the product data. Now it's going to start to find the matches that are on Amazon. Okay, so now this is the part where it's going to automatically load Keepa and take that product data that we just scraped from Kohls, and it'll upload it into the system, fully automated. Again, there's really nothing that you'll need to do here other than you can watch it, but there's no interaction that you'll need to do. It logs into the account automatically. It'll upload the file automatically, and you'll see a little progress indicator as it's uploading the products. So you can kind of watch the progress. But basically what this is doing is taking the UPC values that we found. It's now going to compare those directly to the information that it has for Amazon. And you can see it's loading these products. This particular one had 9,000 that we'll be comparing. And essentially you just let this Keepa process run. Once it downloads the information and it's done with the sheets, it'll go and create the spreadsheet automatically, place it in your scrapes folder. You'll be able to open the spreadsheet, and now you have all that data that you scraped, all the matches that were directly on Amazon, where you can then filter, sort, and start scraping. So while this is processing, a few other pieces of advice. The genius of scraping is that you can cast a wide net and then filter. So you can see in some scrapes, I'll have 30,000 rows of information. Maybe I scraped, 1,000 products or 3,000 products. You want to cast a wide enough net so that you're going to find the gold nuggets. So think of it like gold panning. You want to scoop up a whole bunch of things where you can shake it and refine it and get rid of the junk, and then you have your gold nuggets at the bottom. So scraping is very similar. If you only scrape a few items, say you only scrape 100 products and you're expecting to find a bunch of, really profitable, excellent items, probably not. But if you're scraping 10,000 products and you're able to filter and sort by ROI or profit or things like that, then you are going to be able to find some really good products. So here in Keepa, it's saying that 3,100 of the 9,000 UPCs had no match on Amazon. So those are filtered out automatically. Again, the script does this automatically. You can see the ones that it did find. It's now going to download this information, and then it'll go and create the sheet, and then we can take a look at the sheet once that happens. So again, this is all automated. I'm not touching anything. It's through the scraping automation, and then you'll see that it downloads. It'll close the browser, and then it'll go through the process again if there's multiple files. So the last part now, you can see it says formatting the sheet. So it'll go through now and take all of the data that we scraped, all of the data from Kohls. It's going to merge it together, create a very nice looking, sortable, clickable spreadsheet for you for your product scraping. This part usually takes less than a minute or so, but you'll see it go through all the different automations that it's going through. And then once it's done, it'll say process completed successfully. You can see here's the file that it created automatically. It's in my scrapes folder, and that I can press OK and get rid of that. So what do I do now? I'll go to my scrapes folder. I'll look at the date modified. It's right now. I can open up this Kohls script. So yeah, it opens up the spreadsheet, and you can see that it has all of our data. So again, you can take this spreadsheet if you don't want to use LibreOffice on the server. You can bring it down to your local machine. You can use it on the server if you like. Just a quick overview of the things that you'll be looking for. So I'll bring this over down to my local Excel, just so that it's a little bit easier to show you what this looks like, and I will maximize it. So if I take out off all the filters of this particular scrape, you can see there's over 16,000 rows of information, right? So obviously you're not going to go through 16,000 rows, but what you can do is hit Control-Shift-L. That toggles the scraping where you can now sort, and I'll zoom in here. But you can now sort these items. The first thing I like to do is sort by ROI, largest to smallest. So of course that gives us, these really crazy ROIs. The other thing is with sales rank. So obviously, if you're selling on Amazon, you realize that the lower the sales rank, the more velocity, the better that a product sells. So if you see something that's 376,000, or this one's 1.4 million, it probably doesn't sell a lot. So the other thing that I like to do is take my sales rank. I can do a number filter here, and I can say less than or equal to, let's say, 100,000. So now all of these are within the top 100,000 rank. And now I can see on here, if I'm sorting by ROI, these are the top one, the top profit I would make. And there's other information here as well. So you have the link to Amazon, you have the link to Kohls in this case. If it's, a different retailer, it'd go directly to their site. You have the product title. What is my cost after the discount that I put in? What is the current buy box? So when it says price, that's basically the buy box on Amazon. Sometimes it's suppressed, but that's essentially what is the price if you were to try to buy it on Amazon. What does that mean for my profit? How much ROI is that? What's the current sales rank? And then it has some other information here like weight. It has what is the new current, the buy box over the last 90 days. Availability. So on Kohls, I know they have 157 of these in stock. How many competing offers do I have? So that's another good indicator in case you don't want to get on listings that have a lot of competition. The number of reviews that for the total of the listing. You have product reviews. You can see of individual variants of that. So that can give you a good indicator of has that variant sold and been rated. So that's another good indicator. We have other things like color, model, what would be the FBA fee, what is the FBA shipping. So all of this is in here. It's all sortable. You can hide columns. But essentially, if I'm going to start sourcing, what I would do is say, pick this item as an example. If I click that retail link, it then opens it in my browser. And then sometimes you'll see this landing page. It just means that it's on the main Kohls homepage. If you go and click that link again, it'll take you directly to the product. And then if you click the Amazon link right next to it, now you're bringing up these products side by side. And the things that you'll notice is on Amazon, this is a yellow hoodie, size small. If you look on Kohls, it's the exact same match. So it's tied together. There's no, you're not wondering, is this a match or not? You can see my cost would be $37.50, but with 20% of Kohls Cash, that would make my buy cost $30. And if I plug that in over here in my seller app, you can see that the current price is $85.96, like it said on the scrape. I can verify that by looking here. And then I know that if I were to purchase this for $30 and sell it for $85, I'd be looking at $34 of profit after fees. So the Amazon fees and the approximate shipping are built into the profit estimator. And then of course you can still use things like Keepa just to see what this has looked like. This hasn't been in stock very much, which is probably why it doesn't have as many reviews. But again, you could come in here, undercut the buy box by $1, and you would be in the buy box or the top seller. And this is on a very popular listing, which is another great thing about scraping. When you scrape a listing like this, you're scraping every single color, every single size. There's hundreds of combinations. It's all in this spreadsheet, each individual row showing you what is the price for that particular thing, and you can take a look and source. So that's another thing. And you might be able to find a new variant on a very popular listing. This has 2,900 sales a month, but you're coming in here, maybe you're finding some of these variants that are out of stock for small, and you might be the only seller. So you're getting a lot of eyeballs on this listing. You come in, jump in, say, I have this pink and small, and you're setting your own price. Yeah, it's a great way to get sales without worrying about tanking. Other people are not necessarily going to find this, certainly not as easy as you are, just by looking in your scrape, being able to filter and sort by those items. They would have to manually be looking at each color, each variant, seeing if there's another person selling it, looking at the history, whereas you have that huge advantage of everything being presented to you in this spreadsheet. So that's the basics. You cannot run two scrapes at the same time. So if you're on the server, queue up a larger scrape overnight, you can just leave this connected, off to the side. I wouldn't minimize it necessarily, but you could just leave it like this and go about your normal work. But you could be queuing up large scrapes. Once that scrape is done, you could then queue up the next scrape. You can see there's a lot of different ones that we've run, anywhere from Walgreens to Target to Shop WSS. There's about 26 stores right now. We're adding more all the time. And we even have a section where you can request your own. So that is my recommendation. There are other videos that you can watch either on my YouTube or posted in the Discord that gets into a little bit more of the strategy of these, what all the different columns really mean as far as like buy box past, what has the price been over the last 90 days? Is this something that you would want to send in via FBA, or would you try to do FBM? All of that's there, but feel free to ask questions. Let me know if you run into any issues. Most things that happen during a scrape, you can just pick up where it left off if there was ever a problem. Just reach out, and thanks again for trying it.